Hi, I'm Néstor Serra, Director of Education for the Hypopressive method in fitness and sports, Hypopressive RSF, Reprocessing Soft Fitness. Welcome to this seminar. The Hypopressive method was created in the early 80s by Marcel Coffrier when he was working at the University Hospital in Brussels, Belgium. Then he was working with females with pelvic floor disorders, abdominal disorders, and also in postpartum that are related ones to the others. These women could have diastasis abdominal, could have hernias, vaginal hernias, prolapses, and also urinary incontinence. He realized that he was prescribing traditional abdominal work. And the women that were doing this traditional abdominal work were recovering worse than those women who weren't doing it. So this abdominal work wasn't useful for these women. One day, when he was working with a woman with a prolapse, then he was approaching his fingers to try to evaluate this prolapse, and then this prolapse disappeared because the woman was doing like this. She was shocked, emotionally shocked, because this man was approaching his fingers to his vagina, to her vagina. Then he was thinking about that, and he started to study that. Why this prolapse was disappearing when this woman was shocked emotionally. Then he found that she was opening her rib cage, and at the same time, she was relaxing the diaphragm. So the diaphragm was doing a suction of the organs. And these organs, with this suction done by the diaphragm, then he started to work on the first program he developed, the diaphragm aspiration techniques. Let's explain that. We have the abdominal cavity. The abdominal cavity, it is in the center of our body. It is in the core. It is like a house that we have. On the roof of this house, we have the diaphragm, the thoracic diaphragm. And here, on the walls of this house, we have the abdominal wall. And also, on the floor of this house, we have the pelvis, and here, the pelvic floor muscles. So, inside, we have the content of this abdominal cavity are the organs, the inside organs. And in the lower part, we have the pelvic organs. If we do a side view here, we can find here the diaphragm. Here we have the abdominal wall, and here the pelvic floor. In the lower part, we have the organs, the bladder, the uterus with the vagina, and the rectum here. Above that, we have the peritoneum. So, in this abdominal cavity, if I want to do a suction of these organs, should be done by the diaphragm that is going up. The diaphragm, when it goes up, it is being relaxed, not contract, relaxed. Let's talk about the internal pressure, the abdominal internal pressure. Here, it is like a balloon. If we have two balloons here, this one it has less pressure than the other one. What does it mean, the abdominal? Why do we need abdominal internal pressure? Because if we want to move, if we want to blow, if we want to defecate, if we want to be more stable, we need to increase this abdominal internal pressure. Why? For example, this balloon has less pressure than this one. If I press this balloon, its deformation, it's making that the transfer of the forces is weaker. We have less transfer of these forces. But in this other balloon, if I deformate it, the transfer is bigger. We have more transfer of the forces. So if we increase the internal pressure of a volume, this will be more stable and will transfer better all the forces to the outside. Okay, we have two ways of increasing the pressure. The first one, it is putting more content. So for example, as I do here, I put more air inside the balloon and then I increase the content. This is pressing out the walls of this balloon. And then, depending on the tonus of this balloon, these forces will press inside, will do a reaction to this increasing pressure. The pressure will increase, and also the stability of this volume. The second way of increasing the pressure, it is decreasing the volume, but keeping the same content. For example, if I want to reduce with the same air here, I want to reduce these walls. This on a balloon, it is very difficult. But on the abdominal cavity, it is possible. How we do that? We do that pressing down with the diaphragm. If the diaphragm is pressing down here, we are increasing the pressure inside because we are reducing the volume of this cavity. Of course, the abdominal wall can go outside and the pelvic floor too. They can go outside, but they are resisting this force, this displacement of the organs produced by the diaphragm. So the diaphragm is pressing down, it is pressing the internal organs, and these internal organs are pressing to the walls of the abdominal cavity. Depending on that, we have two ways of controlling that. We can control this displacement with a phasic force, or we can control that with a tonic force. Let's think about that. We have two kinds of tissue. Important tissue here. We have the muscle and also we have the connective or conjunctive tissue. The muscle, we can control the muscles. We can activate them to reduce their length and then be more stable. But the connective tissue, we can't control that. It is a tissue very stable, strong, but we can't control the activation of this tissue. So what we need here is to be stable to this displacement with two things, the muscle tissue and the connective tissue. If the muscle is contracting to do the reaction of these forces, then it will be more stable. But if the muscle is not contracting, then these organs will be displaced, and then at the end, the one who is controlling this displacement is the connective tissue. If we do it again and again, one time and two times, and then again for months and years, etc., this connective tissue will be degraded. And this is the problem. And why? Because the muscle is not doing his primary action. which is control the displacement of these organs. So summarizing, the diaphragm is pressing down, and the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor muscle should contract here to control this displacement of the internal organs. If they don't control that, they will deformate here and here and here, and then the connective tissue will be affected. With the hypopressive method, we work in two different things. The first one, it is reducing the abdominal internal pressure, but without being less stable, because we need to be stable to be able to transfer the forces. So for example, if I decrease the pressure that is doing this diaphragm, and I increase the activation of this abdominal wall and this pelvic floor, then this area will be more stable but decreasing the pressure inside. On another hand, we need to do it on a reflex contraction. Tonus means resistance to deformation. If we have a very strong connective tissue and also we have a very strong muscles, our tonus will be higher and then will be resisting better to the deformation. But if we have a weak muscle, that will provoke a weak connective tissue in the future, and then we'll have a very low tonus. Of course, we can control the activation of our muscles on a voluntary contraction. If I do this, I activate my muscles, I squeeze my abdominals, and here the forces, the strength, it is increasing, but it is what we call a phasic contraction. It is voluntary. But the most important thing, it is not that I activate these muscles on a voluntary contraction. What we want is these muscles to be activated on a reflex contraction when we need it. For example, if I'm walking, I'm not thinking of contracting my muscles. If I cough, I'm not thinking on how to contract my muscles. If I have to grab my baby, or if I have to run for a marathon, or I have to do an aerobic class, I'm not thinking of contracting these muscles all the time. Of course, I can think on a specific moment. For example, if I lift a weight on a deadlift. And this will be a phasic contraction, voluntary. But this doesn't mean that in the rest of the day, in which I'm all the time, I need all the time increase my internal abdominal pressure to be more stable and to be able to live. That doesn't mean that on these actions, my abdominal pressure is controlled on a good way, on a safety way. So, what we have found with the hypopressive method is a way of decreasing the pressure of the diaphragm and at the same time increasing the activation of the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor. The other thing that we have found is a way of changing this program, this postural program, the postural pattern that we use on every movement of our lives. And how we do that? Working with the emotional system. The emotional system is managing more than the 85% of our daily actions. And it is the system that is managing the posture during the whole day without thinking on this posture. What we have found is a way of directly change the way we manage that posture. And this is working with the posture, with different postures, on what we called the neuro-divergence. The neuro-divergence, it is a way of contracting some muscles when we relax other muscles. We voluntarily relax same muscles, and we involuntarily contract other muscles. And at the same time, we voluntarily contract some muscles, and by the neuro-divergence, we contract or relax other muscles. What we want with the different postures is find which muscles has to be contracted to provoke a relaxation of the diaphragm, and at the same time, an activation of the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor. And also, which muscles we have to inhibit to provoke this relaxation of the diaphragm, and at the same time, the contraction of the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor. This is called the neuro-divergence. And we use that in all the training, in the whole hypopressive training, putting our clients on a specific posture that is challenging this neuro-divergence. And at the same time, we work with the pneumotaxic center. The pneumotaxic center is the center that is driving the whole breathing system. It is like the orchestra director. It is the one that is activating and relaxing the muscles involved on the breathing system. For example, the diaphragm, the serratus, and also the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor, which are also breathing muscles. What we have also found is a way of working with these breathing muscles, with this pneumotaxic center. So he's managing the activation or the work of these muscles, and then we can increase this relaxation of the diaphragm, and at the same time increase the activation of the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor. How we do that? Postural training and breathing patterns. You will see it in the practical session. Welcome to the practice. The hypopressive method has three main principles that we have to apply to every posture or every exercise. The first one, it is the self-elongation. When we are standing, try to reach with your head as high as possible, trying to reach with the upper part of my head, the ceiling. So here, Gemma is pressing up, and as a reaction of this activation, her chin is going inside. When she is relaxing, her belly and the muscles, the abdominal wall muscles, are relaxed. And when she is pressing up here, her belly is going inside and the abdominal wall is being contracted. So this is the first principle. We have to apply it to every movement and every posture. The second one, it is what Marcel found when he was working with that girl in Brussels. The neuro-divergence between the serratus and the diaphragm. When the serratus is being contracted, the diaphragm is being relaxed. And when the diaphragm is being relaxed, the abdominal internal pressure decreases. So here, what is the serratus? It is a muscle that is going from my shoulder blade. If I have the shoulder blade here, and I take out this shoulder blade, on the internal part, the part inside, and closer to the spine, it is the origin. And this muscle, its fibers, goes from this internal part of the shoulder blade, of the scap, are going to the first 9 ribs. And it attaches to these first 9 ribs. So it has 2 actions. The first one, it is, if I fix the scaps and I contract the serratus, it is opening the rib cage. For example, when I strongly inhale. The second one, it is when I fix the ribs, where it is attached on the ribs, and I contract the serratus, it is separating the 2 scaps. So for example, she's doing here, closing the scaps, closing them, and if she's pressing here, press and separate the scaps, the serratus, it's being contracted. So this is the second main principle. Because when we activate the serratus, we have found that the diaphragm, it's relaxed, and the abdominal wall, it is being contracted. And as a consequence of that, the internal pressure decreases. The third principle, it is the anteposition of the axis of gravity. So here, on a lateral view, the axis of gravity is vertical in this line. It is more or less on the center of my foot or a little bit behind. Now, if I move the center of gravity forward to the toes, but I still stable here, we can see that the belly is going inside as well. If she relaxes here, when she's going to the front, the abdominal wall is more contracted. So we have to apply all these 3 principles to have an exercise, a hypopressive exercise or a hypopressive posture. We will do 6 exercises. The first 3 standing. The other 3 on your knees. So the first one. On your feet, put your feet parallel, but must be parallel the second finger. So this one. And 1 hand distance between the arcs of your feet. From here, we apply the 3 main principles. The first one, self-elongation. So press up my hand, and as a result, the chin is going inside. Your hands facing one to the other, and as close as possible with your elbows locked. And from here, open your arms until they are at 30 degrees. So this is 90, 45, a little bit less, 30 degrees. And stay on this self-elongation and the second main principle, the decoaptation of the scaps. So from here, your arms must press down and diagonal, like if they want to reach the floor. The third one, side view. The third one, it is the anteposition of the axis of gravity. So here, going forward, my weight is going forward. Put the weight on your toes. And here, be careful that don't do a hip hinge on this position. Just stay aligned, activating your quads and activating your glutes. And in this position, we will do inhale in 2 seconds, exhale in 4 seconds. So inhale in 1, 2, exhale in 1, 2, 3, and 4. And stay here. This is an apnea, expiratory apnea. So we keep this position, stay on this position as much as possible. It will be 8-10 seconds. Inhale, exhale. Now between apneas, you do 3 breathings. Inhale, exhale. Good. The third one. Inhale, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and apnea. You can do the same work with me, with Gemma. Do the work with us. Stay long. Press here. Long arms, pressing down. And inhale, 8, 10 seconds. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Inhaling, 1, 2, exhale. Deep exhalation here. All breath out. 4. Inhale, 1, 2, exhaling, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and keep the position. Stay tall, long arms, and weight forward. And 3, 2, 1. Inhale, exhale. We are going to do one more. Inhale, exhale. Put on a frontal view so they can see the position. Inhale, 1, 2, exhaling, 1. Long arms, remember, 3, 4, and apnea. Press up, be tall, long arms, facing one palm to the other, and weight forward. And 3, 2, 1, inhale. Okay, now keep the position. Stay here. Flex your wrist, dorsiflexion here, and turn inside, and your elbows must be at 90 degrees. And here, open your toe, your big finger, and put here on the hip. The iliac crest, okay? So in this position, bend your knees. Press, it's like if you want to press forward with your knees. When you do skiing, it's the same position, pressing forward. But your body, put on the side view, your body must be vertical. And your weight is forward because your hip is going forward. Your elbows in this position must be pressing out and forward. But keep your shoulders stable. Don't move your shoulders here. Separating your scaps. Pressing here, in that direction. Up, chin inside, chest up. Shoulders down. Inhale in 1, 2, exhale in 4, 3, 2, and 1, and hold it. Okay. Keep the 3 principles. Pressing here, be tall. Now the scaps, separate the scaps with the elbows and forward the weight. Inhale, exhale. 3, inhale, exhale. Very good. Open your mouth. Let the air go out. Inhale with no restrictions. Exhale, 2, 3, and 4, and hold it. Okay, if you can't stay in this with this apnea for so long, just inhale, but keep the position. Don't change it. Inhale, exhale. Look at Gemma. Chest up. Weight forward, elbows forward. Inhale, exhale. Dorsiflexion of the wrist. Pressing up. One more. Inhale, exhale. You can do 3, 4 repetitions on the same position. And hold it. These are simple postures, but this is the way of starting with the hypopressive method. Simple postures. After that, complex and compound. Inhale, you can give complexity to the movements or to the exercises. Inhale, exhale. You have to keep the frequency, so don't change it. Inhaling 2, exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it. And this is creating like a wave on our emotional system that you will learn the posture. Your body will learn this pattern, this new postural pattern. Inhale, exhale. Okay, keep this position now, and let's go to the third posture. Now, your hands must be on the top of your knees. And place, this is called the heels of the hands. Easy. So here, the heels of the hands are on the top of my knees, and my hands are in dorsiflexion as well. Extension of the wrist. Okay, here. Now your head must drop down. Look at me first, and then you can do it. Head dropping down, and this is not moving. I put my forearm here, so she's not moving her T-spine. And now it's going inside, inside, as much as possible, until I can see here an harmonic curve of the spine. She's pressing inside like squeezing a lemon with her chin. And here, her elbows are pressing out, the shoulders are separated, and the shoulder blades are also separated. The scaps are pressing out. How? Contracting the serratus. And here, the weight must be forward. In this position, I want to see my hips higher than my shoulders. So extend your knees a little bit. Extend, but keep this position. So she is going down with the shoulders and going up a little bit with the hips. Okay, and in this position, her hip must be forward than the heels. Okay, inhale here and exhale. 2, 3, and hold it. You can see here the contraction of the abdominal wall. This is going inside because it is an hypopressure. So the pressure is going down, is dropping down, and she's inhaling. So, but keep the position. Inhale, and this is showing us that this is an hypopressive exercise. Inhale, exhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it. Okay, I can see her abdominal wall that it's being contracted, and at the same time, I can see that it's going inside. If it's going outside, this is an hyperpressure. The abdominal pressure is increasing. Inhale, exhale. Okay, so you have to feel that your abdominal wall is going inside. Inhale, exhale. She's keeping the rhythm. She's keeping the rhythm. Okay, you have to do the same. Inhale again, and exhale in 2, 2, 3, and 4, and hold it. Okay, remember, chin inside, this harmonic curve, keep it. Elbows outside, pressing outside, shoulders separated of the ears, and weight forward. Inhale here, and exhale. Okay, on your knees. On your knees. Now, to be on your knees, it is important that your feet are on dorsiflexion. Always dorsiflexion. Okay? And put like a semi-side view. Here, 45. Okay. Look at your at her thighs. Here are parallel. Let's do the same posture that we have done standing. So, first, hands here, and open until my arms are 30 degrees. Okay, look at her spine. It is neutral spine, but keep this anterior tilt of the pelvis. You don't have to change that. If you go for more anterior tilt, then your T-spine must be also curved. So you keep the curves of the spine. This is more natural, and it is more stable. So now, press up. When you are pressing up, your chin is going down, going inside. And hands down, diagonal, separating scaps. Don't close the scaps. Separate. Shoulders separated from the ears. In this position. Inhale in 1, 2, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, and hold it. Okay. When your weight is going forward, in this position, kneeling, you will feel your glutes contract. The glutes and the quads we call them hypopressive muscles. Inhale. Why? Because these muscles help us to relax the diaphragm. Inhale, like the serratos does. So the serratos, the quads, and the glutes are hypopressive muscles. Inhale, exhale. Remember, don't break the exit of the air. So don't close your mouth. You have to open your mouth. Open all this respiratory vents to go this air, to keep this air out. Inhale, exhale. One more. A little bit forward with your hip. Inhale, exhale. And if you do it with a client, inhale, you can put the hand here, exhale, and put the weight forward. And now she's like feeling that she's going to fall forward, and I'm helping her. But this is going direct to her emotional system, and this posture will be learned much faster. Okay, and keep it. For the next posture, she's on apnea. We can change during the apnea, because this movement, it is also hypopressive and going here, and elbows in the front. Inhale, exhale. Very good. And it's the same position that you have done standing. Inhale, exhale. Always 3 breathings between apneas. Inhale, exhale in 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Okay, and keep this position. Stay tall here. Stay tall. Chin inside and elbows to the front. And 2, 1. Inhale, exhale. Okay, let's do the final position. So, hands on the floor. Put your hands facing your fingers to the other hand fingers. So here the hip is on the top of the knees. My shoulder is on the top of my hands. In this position. Chin inside. Drop your head. And bending your elbows. Go inside. Bending your elbows without pushing with your T-spine to the ceiling, towards the ceiling. And from here, separate the scaps as much as possible, pressing out with the elbows, and go forward with the weight. Okay, go backwards with the weight, inhaling, exhale forward. And keep this position. Here, your hip is more advanced than your knees, and your shoulders are forward than your hands. Inhale for backward, exhale forward, and keep this movement. Inhale, exhale, separating your scaps. Good. Inhale, one more. Exhale, and 2, 1, and hold it. Hold this position. Elbows out, separate scaps. Okay, your feet can drop inside or outside. Keep them parallel in the same position. Inhale back, exhale forward. Let's do the last one. Inhale, exhale. 3 and 4. Last one. Inhale, exhale in 1, 2, 3. Separate scaps. 4, and keep the position. So now, squeeze the lemon with your chin. Squeeze the lemon and press here. Press in here, the finger. Press here, press here, press here. Inhale and rest. Very good. So you have 6 positions. You can repeat now the sequence, and more or less you have to do 3 apneas in each position. Between apneas, do 3 breathings. And you have to keep the position for 8-10 seconds. If you can keep the position keep the apnea, hold the apnea for longer time, that will be great. Why? Because that will increase your CO2 on the blood, and this is relaxing even more your diaphragm. It is part of the method too. So the three main principles: self-elongation, the decoaptation of the scapes, so separate your scapes, activating your serratus, and at the same time, going forward with the weight. Also, you can contract some muscles that are also hypopressive, so will help this pressure to go down when you are doing these postures. Repeat this sequence, 1 or 2 sets or 2 rounds, around 20 minutes, 25 minutes. In 1 month, 2 months, you will feel the benefits. Thank you for attending to this seminar, and if you need any more information, just write us to courses that courses at hypopressiversf.com, and we will give you the information. Thank you.